Welcome to our new season of What's Your Story? Because of your donation, WYTV7 Community Broadcast is in its seventh season. So please continue to give to WYTV7.org, where we focus on education, empowering, and encouraging the next generation. Again, welcome. I'm excited. I'm Sherita Williams, and welcome to What's Your Story? Today, I have an amazing guest. His name is James Fisher Davis. Please help me welcome Mr. Fisher Davis to the show. James.
Thank you so much. I'm absolutely honored and thrilled to be a part of the show today. I'm hoping that we'll be able to provide some information to individuals that will inspire them to actually jump on this excursion with us. It's an excursion that's going to take a lot of cooperation, a lot of collaboration, and at the end of the day, we can actually accomplish a lot of things as long as we go about the business of trying to do it together. So hopefully it's going to be informative. We're going to provide some education to individuals, and yeah, I'm excited about it.
Absolutely. So James, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Where would I begin? I tell people all the time, listen, I'm an old country boy, from North Carolina, the eastern part of the state. I always refer to it as like God's country, to be honest with you. And great folks there. But we have great folks in the state of North Carolina anyway. I'm the son of a sergeant major. And, what that did was that taught me a lot about character, about accountability and responsibility, being an individual of your word, loyalty, commitment. But I was predominantly, also raised by my grandparents, my grandmothers in particular. So, they always had me in church. They had the young buck singing in the choir. They had me doing all kinds of things. So, my foundation is one of faith, and it is also one of character. So that's really my core. That is who I am.
So tell me, how did your upbringing, how has that impacted you today?
What I have realized is that there's this saying about it takes a village. And I truly believe that it takes a village. But what I also realize is that over the decades, the village has changed. It was one of those situations where that you could be in the neighborhood someplace, and if for whatever reason you did something that you shouldn't necessarily have been doing, you're going to hear about it, and they're going to be dealing with you all the way until you reach your home again, right? And I don't necessarily know that we always see that in our villages today. And for me, I know how important that was, to always have eyes on me, to always have individuals who were actually looking out for me, whether they were family members or friends. And even more important, Sherita, always having individuals praying for me. Because my upbringing and where I grew up, and how I had to grow up, and the trials that I had to experience during that particular time, trust me, I needed a lot of prayer. So I'm who I am today. I am where I am today because of the support of those individuals, but also because of their consistent prayers for me as well.
So tell me about your name, your last name. So your name is hyphenated. So
Correct.
Give us a little bit of background about that.
It's interesting because in my family, and it's a huge family. One grandmother had 13 kids, another one had 7. And I was the first one that was actually going to go off to a 4-year university. And as with all things, when you're graduating high school, you have friends and family, they're giving you gifts and they're so proud of you and that type of thing. And one of the things that I did was I said, you know what? Both sides of my family have been so important to me, and they've been so close because my parents actually met when they were teenagers. And my thinking, my thought process was, what could I possibly do for them? They say that they're proud of me. I'm going off to university. And I know and I understand that, but what can I do for them, to kind of pay it back to them to a certain extent, everything that they've done and everything they've meant to me. So what I did was I actually went about having my name hyphenated because I did not want to individuals just to refer to me as Fisher or as Davis. I want to make certain that I represented both sides of that family the best I possibly could. And I can tell you that everything that I have done and all the things that I do it representing them. So when I'm about to make a decision, it's not about me. It's about how are they going to view it. I want to make certain that I do not sully or soil that name at all. I want to make certain that when individuals hear that name, that they know that, what, I come from good stock. It was not necessarily stock that had a high status in reference to social economic or in reference to influence, but you know what? They're good people, and and I wanted to make certain that I represented them in that particular fashion. So that was really the idea behind the hyphenated name. And we always say that if you look to help other individuals or serve other individuals, you help or you serve yourself. So it also became I think I may have met my wife that way too. She was like, "Well, tell me about the name," And I was like, "Oh yeah, yeah." So, so there you go.
Well, that's one way of engulfing the community, I tell you.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So I love it. So you've told us about where you come from. So tell us about the organization that you represent, Equilibrium Up. How did that name come about?
Equilibrium Up. First, the name. I think names speak volumes sometimes. And for me, Equilibrium Up was really about trying to establish some sort of balance. I think that we have to have a balance in life, and I look at it as an opportunity really to be holistic in regards to your approach in life. There's a mind, there's a body, there's a spirit components. You have to really encapture everything, every aspect of yourself, of your being, and of your life and the society that we're actually in. In essence, don't ever sell yourself short. Don't ever think there's something that you cannot do. So with Equilibrium Up, that was really what it was about. I said, you know what, we need to make sure that there's balance. And we looked at that in regards to students. We looked at it in regards to student athletes. We looked at it in reference to law enforcement because I'm more than certain we'll get into a little bit later on, but I've been an educator for 15 years. I've been a coach for over 20 years. I've trained law enforcement officers for over 25 years. I've been active in reference to mentorships and youth organizations for an extended period of time. So balance was the key. So someone once asked me, so well, why did you just call it Balance Up? I said, because when you deal with young people, you want to always make certain that when you're sharing information with them, it's thought provoking. I could say
Absolutely.
balance and they would know about balance, but I need them to go and look up what does equilibrium mean. And then the last part of it, the up piece, is regardless of what you're going through or what you're having to deal with, if you would just look up, if you would just look up and realize that there is something greater than yourself, if you would just look up, cast your eyes upon the mountains, cast your eyes toward the heavens. And I said, you know what? That for me, that does it all, it says it all. Equilibrium up, balance up, be balanced, but also be focused and understand that you're just a part of something that is greater than yourself.
Absolutely. So we know about the name. So tell us exactly what is Equilibrium Up and some of the sessions that you guys provide.
Equilibrium Up, Sherita, is about helping you become the best human being that you can possibly be. And that's the elevator part of it. That's it. It is about helping you become the best human being that you could possibly be. It's about helping you with character building, with leadership development, with relationship building, with communication, with diversity, equity, and inclusion, which we actually talk about understanding opportunity and belonging. It is everything that you need in order for you to not only have hope yourself, but to provide hope to other individuals as well. And what we do is, we define hope as helping other people excel. That's what we do. We give actionable tools. We don't just come in so you can hear our voices. We come in and make certain that you are actively a part of what we're doing, and that when you leave, you know exactly what you have to do in order to help promote hope for other individuals.
All right, James, we're going to take a break and we'll be right back after this break.
What we're going to talk about this morning is seeing things internally as opposed to externally, because as a purposeful hero, that's your responsibility when it comes to the individuals that you are serving and that you're leading.
Police chiefs and law enforcement leaders, we've known for a long time that you can't build consensus and relationships during times of crisis. And now we have an opportunity and an obligation to find ways that we can reach out as law enforcement professionals to those in the community to help build those positive relationships before we have a crisis.
Most of our encounters with the public are very short. Even though a traffic stop for us may last 15 minutes, for that person, they're going to remember that the rest of their life. And so the impression that we leave with them is important. It's important that we leave a positive impression. Even if we have to take enforcement action, that we leave a professional and positive encounter with them.
The public are the police and the police are the public. Without a strong relationship and partnership with the community, the challenge for law enforcement and for the public both is so huge. If you can break that wall down and have a great relationship and reconcile that, chances for success, obviously conversely, are very high.
We're back with James Fisher Davis. James was telling us about his organization, Equilibrium Up. James, please tell us what makes you different. What makes Equilibrium Up organization different from any other organization?
You know, I think with the subject matters that I mentioned to you, and there are many others, we come in and we customize our curriculum based upon the needs of the entity in which we're working with. So, you know, in essence, when we say that this is about, you know, you being the best human being that you possibly can, it does not matter the industry, it does not matter the profession. We can actually come in and we can provide information to personnel and staff that will absolutely positively benefit them, one, by that customization that I mentioned. The other thing is that our sessions are relatively nuanced. In essence, we don't necessarily come in and, you know, there's that saying about death by PowerPoint. We don't come in and just put up a lot of PowerPoints so you can actually read them and you can take snapshots of them. What we do is experiential. In essence, you have an opportunity to share your thoughts. And the main thing with us is that we get you to self-reflect. Because quite often when you're trying to build relationships with other individuals, you have to know who you are to a certain extent before you can even begin to try to ascertain who someone else happens to be. So that's what we do. There's a little bit difference. It is really nuanced, and it's not just because we say so, but when we take a look at the demographics that we've dealt with and that we've had interaction with over in the past, you know, when you have law enforcement saying to us, listen, is the best training that I've had, and I've been in law enforcement for 32 years. Or you have students saying, you know what, this is great. I was really compelled by the sessions, and I appreciate the sessions. Or you have business entities, or you have faculty and staff in academia saying, you know, we thought this was going to be something else when we talk about, you know, diversity, equity, and inclusion, and we covered all that, but you guys covered it in an entirely different way. And it is something that we can take out now and not only say that we can recite certain information, but we actually know how to go about the business of applying this information too. And that's why we do what we do. And, you know, Sherita, we've been designed for this. You know, we have done this for over 25 years and we've had success in regards to it. It was just the last 7 to 8 years that we said, you know what, this is something that we need to formally put out to individuals because we have done it. We have the evidence-based practice that will actually suggest that it is working. So at the end of the day, why don't we do something that will benefit other individuals as well? So that is, I think those are the things really that makes us different. And just the folks that we have associated with Equilibrium Up, knowing where their hearts are, and they're faithful individuals too. So yeah, that makes us a little different, I think.
Absolutely. So please tell our audience how they can get in contact with Equilibrium Up.
You can contact us. You can go to the website. You can go to the website, which is equilibriumup.org. equilibriumup.org. You can go there. There's contact information where you, obviously, my director of operations, you can always contact her through that particular form as well. You can, James at equilibriumup.com. You can always reach me via email. My director of operations is Jamie, Jaymee, at equilibriumup.com. Those are some ways in which you can actually reach us. And what we'll do is we'll respond back to you. We try not to keep individuals waiting. And we look forward to it. We invite any and everyone to join us on this excursion that we're on, because we know that it is purposeful. We know that it is our calling, and we know, most importantly, that we have been prepared for this. We have been prepared for this. This is something that is very, very important to us.
Absolutely. So, James, you're a founder, you're a CEO, and now you're an author. You've done it all. So please tell us about your best-selling book and how did the name come about?
Absolutely. That there's a lot that God has allowed me to do, and I'm prayerful that He has a lot more for me to do as well. That He will use me as a vessel best He possibly can, and so we're looking forward to that. In reference to the book, it is called Bound by Togetherness Through Service. Bound by Togetherness Through Service, and it's by James O. Fisher Davis. You can actually get it on Amazon. The book was written in such a fashion where, first of all, there's a lot of individuals who there's so many different opportunities for individuals out there today, where they don't necessarily want to just sit and read something that is really long. And what we're trying to do is we're trying to capture every human being. We don't really even talk a lot about demographics, every human being. So this is the first piece of literature that I'm aware of that prayerfully will be in the hands of law enforcement, and it will also be in the hands of the public. And that is important. With everything that we've experienced and that we've been dealing with really for decades, but it came the last 2.5, 3 years. We always talk about this idea of everybody reading from the same book or everybody singing from the same sheet of music, but we've never really had anything tangible out there. This is something that is tangible out there, so that when individuals have an interaction with a law enforcement official, there's a likelihood that they have both possibly read the exact same material and understand the significance and importance of honoring one another as human beings. And so this is it. If you can actually see that, bound by togetherness through service, the character process through self-reflection. Is a lot about self-reflection. We give you a pathway towards self-reflection, so that when individuals have read it, and now when I have conversations with them, the conversations are different. They still about different episodes and different times in their lives when certain things were actually taking place, and they're like, I never really thought about it, but it was impactful to me, and it's one of the reasons why I am who I am. So if you have an opportunity, absolutely reach out, get it on Amazon. I think that you will enjoy it. But that was one of the reasons that I wrote the book. And honestly, Sherita, I was really reluctant to do so, because there are some stories in here that I share that I had not shared with anyone. And what happened was, during some of our sessions, there's a couple stories in the book that I would actually share with folks, and they would come up to me, afterwards and say, that was so impactful. I'm so glad you shared that story. And then they saw that vulnerability, and then they became vulnerable. Because in order for you to start to trust, in order for you to start to forgive to a certain extent, you have to find yourself being vulnerable as well. That's what our sessions will do. Our sessions are organic and they are authentic. And that's what I think individuals appreciate most.
Yeah, because we are overcomers by
And
our
the book is the
testimony.
exact same way. The last thing about the book is, yes, that's right. The last thing about the book is, at the end of each chapter, you have an experiential that's there. So you get to tell a story in your own words, in your own handwriting. You have a character building audit there. You have a leadership development evaluation that is there. So that when there's times in your life that you step back and you're asking yourself, why am I doing this? What is my purpose in life? You get to go back to this book and see exactly what you wrote. see exactly why it was you were doing the things you were doing. And that's one of the things that we're excited about as well.
Absolutely. So James, has a workshop or seminar come about through this book?
I'm sorry, repeat that for me.
I say, has a workshop or seminar come about through this book?
Well, we have provided various sessions. We have been providing sessions for a number of years now. This book was just published the first part of June. So what we're doing now is we're in the process of getting this out. We really didn't do a lot of marketing of it because it was not about the marketing and trying to just get it in individuals' hands without them understanding the purpose of the book itself.
Absolutely. So James,
So right now we're having conversations, with the state. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
So what message would you like to leave with our audience?
I would say that, each and every morning when you wake up, look to learn something and look to help somebody. If you will do that, and the key to it is learning how to love individuals. Love yourself first, but learn how to love individuals. And that is what Equilibrium Up is all about. That's what we're doing.
Absolutely. So James, we would like to thank you for letting your story become our story on What's Your Story. We would like to thank our audience. We would like to thank WYTV7.org for this platform. And we would like to thank everyone out there. So remember, you are someone and you do have a story.
Absolutely.